Hello everyone, test delay. So I'm here with another chapter of Geography Class 9 and the chapter is drainage. And before we go through this chapter, let's do a quick recapitulation of what we have learned in a previous session. So in the last session, we discussed about the physiographic division of India, and we learned about different physical features of India, right from the north to south and from east to west. From north, we discussed about the Great Himalayan Mountains and the Indian Desert, the Deccan Plateau, the Central Highland, the Western Ghat and Eastern Ghat, the Provençals, the islands of India. So in this chapter, we will be focusing more towards the drainage system of India. And you might have noticed while going through any physical map of India, you have seen small streams, right, flowing towards different direction and coming together and forming a lake. Then later on it's getting discharged in like a larger body, that is sea or lake or an ocean. So today in this chapter we will be covering those major rivers in India. And before we proceed, we need to get to know a few terms that will gonna help us to understand this concept. Alright, so let's quickly see what we are going to cover in this session. So first of all, we will gonna do the introduction part, where we discuss or we'll learn about those terms which will help us to understand this concept. Then we'll discuss about the drainage system in India. After that, the Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Since these Himalayan rivers, Himalayans and the peninsula, we already discussed in the previous session. So I hope you will be able to understand, or you will be recalling whatever we have learned in the previous session. So that will going to help us here. And after that, we have the roles of rivers in economy. So as we know, right, river played an important role since the early civilization. So after that we will conclude with the river pollution. All right, so first and foremost, there are some important terms that we need to understand before we proceed with this chapter. So terms such as like, what is drainage, or what do you mean by drainage? So drainage is described as a river system of an area. So let's say UP, Bihar and Bengal. So mostly if you visit these areas, then you will come across a major river such as like Ganga, right, and Yamuna. So this area, right, which gets drained by rivers, right. So ultimately that kind of geography, we call it as a drainage, and particularly drained by a river. After that we have drainage basin. So when we say drainage basin, it means the area drained by a single river system, such as I already mentioned about river Ganga and river Yamuna. And if we talk about the eastern India, then the river Brahmaputra. Wow. Then we have river system. The river along with its tributaries are called as river system. So see, the river, right, from its source, it is not so massive, or if we can consider, or if we compare with the volume of water in the river. So it gradually, right, the small streams gets connected, gets joined, and that's how the volume of water increases, and that's how the river becomes massive. Then we have deltas. So deltas are normally formed by the depositional work of rivers, right? And if we have lots of deltas in India, and among those, like one of the prominent deltas that we have in India is Sundarban Delta in West Bengal. Okay, so what are tributaries and distributaries? So tributaries means, right, a river or stream flowing into a larger river or lake. Right, so that means, see, in this particular picture or diagram, so here you can see this is the main stream of a river, let's say Ganga or Brahmaputra. So here in this particular region, the river let's say the volume of water, right, it's very intense or huge, and these are the small streams that gets connected to the main river. So these particular streams are known as the tributaries of the river. Let's suppose this is Ganga or Brahmaputra. Alright, so there are lots of different streams, right, which gets connected to the main river. So these particular streams are known as the tributaries of river. So after this we have distributaries. So distributaries are a stream or river which flows away from the larger river. It decreases the volume of water of the main river. So that means just opposite of this tributaries, right? So in this scenario, the small stream gets connected and forms a larger river. And when we talk about the distributaries, then the larger river gets disintegrated or separates into different streams, leading to the decrease in the volume of water in the main river. Okay, so after this we have drainage patterns. So in India, right, we have 4 drainage patterns that are prevalent. So what are those? So the first we need to understand the streams within a drainage basin form certain patterns depending on the slope of land, underlying rock structure, as well as the climate condition of an area. So that means whenever we discuss basin or drainage basin, so drainage basin means, right, let's take an example of a basin, right, the normal basin where we do the dishes in the kitchen. So what happens is all the water droplets which are accumulated in the surrounding of the basin gradually gets connected, right, goes down and joins in the main stream. Similarly, right, so when we bring that particular concept in terms of rivers, right, so the small droplets act as in rivers, streams, which gets gradually connected with the mainstream of all rivers, right? So drainage pattern totally depends upon the physical features, since we have already studied in a previous session that India has different physical features: mountains, plains, plateaus, deserts, islands. So these physical features ultimately have an impact, right, on the formation of different drainage patterns. So here are 4 drainage patterns. First one is tantric, second one is radial, third one is rectangular, then we have trellis. Alright, so this blue, right, the portion depicts the formation of particular drainage pattern. Okay, so let's go through one by one. So first one is tantric. So in this tantric patterns developed where the river channel flows, right, the slope of the terrain. The streams with its tributaries resembles the branches of a tree, as the name tantric. So that means if you look closely into this kind of formation, so this particular region is as in a basin where the small streams, right, gets connected with the main or let's say the main river, and somehow it makes a kind of shape of a tree. So that is why it is also called as a tree like shapes formation, right? After this we have rectangular. So rectangular here, as we can see from the picture very clearly, that the streams get connected at exact right angle, right, with the river. So a drainage pattern which the main river or the streams and their tributaries display many right angle bends. So here you can see very clearly there are lots of right angle bends. So this kind of formation or let's say patterns are called as rectangular patterns. After this we have radial patterns. So that is a kind of dome-like shape, right, from where all the streams, right, moves from a central part or the top or the dome. Okay, so the radial pattern develops when the stream flows in a different direction. As you can see, it is like flowing towards different direction, and from a particular or central peak So let's suppose if there is a rainfall, right? So the water, right, from the rain will flow towards different direction, and it makes a formation which is known as radal pattern. After this, we have trellis. So trellis are normally runs parallel, right? So we'll come to this. A river joins by the tributaries at approximately at right angle, right? So let's suppose this is the main river. Okay, so here the tributaries are connected or joins the main river or the stream at exactly right angle, right? So that is called a trellis pattern. So trellis drainage pattern develops where hard rocks and soft rock exist parallel to each other. So here this is very important. So let's suppose this particular part is the hard rock, right, and the soft rock, right? So what happens is the water body gradually erodes the soft rock, right, and that's how it somehow cuts through and joins with the main river and makes the connection or joint exactly at the right angle. So that's why it is called as trellis pattern. After this, we have the water divide. So I think I have mentioned this in a previous session also. So when we say water divide, so from this picture I'll try to explain it. So this particular let's say upland, right, or uplifted area act as a water divide between these two streams or the rivers. All right, so here it says an elevated area such as this upland as a mountain or an upland separates two drainage basin. So this region becomes a one basin and this here becomes another basin. So this particular upland somehow divides or separates these two basins, right? Such upland is known as water divide.